friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have all new Dollar Tree Valentine's Day DIYs for you, but these DIYs are going to be a little bit different though, because I'm going to be creating some transfer decals to really transform these Dollar Tree items, but I'm going to be doing it without a cutting machine, and I cannot wait to show you how. But before we get started, if anyone is new here, please do consider subscribing down below, and be sure to turn on that notification bell so you never miss a new video. So here is my secret to creating decals without a cutting machine. So I'm going to be using this Waterslide paper. So this is from the Hiipoo brand, and they did send this to me, but I absolutely love it and I've been using it non-stop. It is so much fun. So the way that this works is it just comes like this when you order it. It's just paper, but you do need an inkjet printer. So you can basically print any photo you like onto the paper. Then you just want to let it dry and then seal it in with some clear spray paint. That's going to make sure that the colors do not run. So these are all of my images that I'm going to be using in my DIYs in this video today. So I printed them out on the paper, and then I did go ahead and just seal all of these in with 3 coats of spray paint. That way they were all prepped and ready to use for the DIYs. To make it super easy, all of these will be included on my blog as free printables. So here's my blog. I'm going to link it down below in the description box. And once you head over to this article, you just want to scroll all the way down to the bottom. Once you get past all the photos, you're going to see a section that says free printables, and that is where everything I'm going to be using today will be linked. So if you see a craft that you like, everything is labeled and you can just find whichever one you like and click it, and then you can just print it at home. I did just want to mention that if you do have a cutting machine, you can of course recreate all of these crafts and use your cutting machine. But if you do not have a cutting machine like me, this is just another really great option. And now we're just going to jump into the first DIY. So this is a mug that I found at the Dollar Tree, and I created an ombre XOXO image to be applied to the front of it. So with the Waterslide paper, after you prep it with your clear spray paint and let it dry completely, you're just going to want to trim around your image. Now, we're going to be putting it into some water. So I have a bowl of water here. This is just some lukewarm tap water, and it's going to sit in the water for about 30 to 60 seconds. While that is waiting in the water, I just took a paper towel and dipped it into that same water and applied it to the surface that I want my decal to adhere to. So I put some water on the mug, and now that my transfer is ready, I'm just going to go ahead, place it over the mug, and once I have it where I want it, I'm going to pull out that paper backing. That way I can transfer the clear decal onto the mug. Since I did wet the mug before I applied the decal, I'm going to be able to just move around my decal pretty freely until I have it exactly where I want it. And now that I have it where I want it, I'm just going to take a paper towel and just carefully dab off any extra water that might be on top of the decal or underneath it. And now you want to let this dry completely for a couple days, and that is it. It is that simple. These are really fun to use because you can pretty much print out any image you like and transfer it onto something. I think it's so much fun. I'm just going to use this for decor, but you could still use this as a real mug, but I would suggest just hand washing it. That way you do not ruin your decal. For this next DIY, I have 3 different paint colors. I have a pastel purple, yellow, and pink. And I'm also going to be using these wood hearts that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and start to paint just the top of the wood heart. I want to leave that outside part exposed because I think it looks really pretty against the painted color. So I went with this really pretty light color for the first one, and these colors I just mixed at home. I started with a white chalk paint base and then just added a little bit of purple, pink, and yellow into that white paint to achieve this pastel color. Let that dry completely, and now I'm going to be using these transfers here. So I wanted these hearts to look like the candy conversation hearts. I love the look of them, but I just don't really like the taste of the candy. But I thought it would be a really cute decor element for Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to go ahead, trim right around my words, let them sit in the water for about 30 to 60 seconds, and then put some water onto the surface that I'm going to be transferring it onto. I will say that this surface was a little bit more tricky to deal with than the mug was. So they still go on perfectly, but I couldn't move it around as freely as I could on the mug. So just do be careful if you are recreating this, and just place your words pretty much where you want them because they might not be able to move around as freely on a wood surface that is painted. three I created for the free printable were Be Mine, Cutie Pie, and XOXO. I thought that those were just really cute, but you can of course just print out any word you like and print them out and transfer them onto these hearts. So here is how they looked when they were completed, and I think that these are just so sweet. I'm probably going to leave mine styled out just like this. I think that this is such a fun DIY. As soon as I saw this large wood heart at the Dollar Tree, I knew immediately what I wanted to make with it. So to get started, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the string from the top. It actually was removable, so I'm going to save it for later. I just did not want to get paint on it. So to start off with, I'm just going to be giving the entire heart one base coat of this white spray paint. You can also paint it by hand with some chalk paint, but the spray paint is quickest in my opinion. So here is the heart once it had that white paint, and now I'm just going to be taping off the top portion with some blue painter's tape. I want to just kind of create a gold element up top just to give it some contrast. So this is the gold spray paint I'm going to be using, and I'm just going to be spray painting that top part with one coat. So here is how it turned out when it was all dry. And now the last part is just to add a transfer onto it. So this was the one I created, and this is the one that will again be linked down below, and you can print this out for free on my blog if you want to recreate this. So once I had it trimmed out right around the words, I'm just going to put it in that bowl of water just like before, let it sit for about 30 to 60 seconds, wet the surface that it's going to be transferred onto, and then once it was ready, I just took it out of the water. I'm going to place it where I want it and then just slide out that paper backing and transfer it onto the wood heart. And now I'm just going to take my paper towel and just dab off any extra water on top and let it dry completely. So here it is after it was dry, and now I'm just going to add in that string to the top of it, and that is it. It is done. I think this one turned out so cool. I was never really able to make these really fun signs before because I don't have a cutting machine, but the Waterslide decals are a really great option for signs like this. Next up is a DIY that you do not need decal paper to recreate. So I'm starting off with this wood box that I found in the Crafter's Square at the Dollar Tree. And I'm not going to need the lid for this, so I'm just going to put that to the side, and I'm just going to be using this base here. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire bottom portion with this white chalk paint. This is my absolute favorite white chalk paint. You guys see me use it all the time. I will leave it linked down below. I just pick it up from Amazon. So I didn't really focus too much on the inside, so you'll see it's not perfect in there, but we're not going to really see that, so that's okay. So once the paint was dry completely, I just took this foam floral block that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. It comes in a pack of about 4 or 5, I think. I've had these for a while, and it actually fit perfectly in there. And then I found these roses in the floral department at the Dollar Tree. I think that they were so pretty for $1. You get 6 in this bundle, which works out perfect for this DIY. I'm going to start off by cutting one off here, and I found the easiest way to cut it is to kind of start the cut with the scissors and then just bend that wire back and forth on the inside until it snaps off. So once I had the first rose off, I kind of just measured it where I wanted it to sit inside of the box, and then I just made a bend there. That way I knew exactly where I wanted to cut it. So now that I had my first one all measured out and ready to go, I just cut all of the other roses at that same length. Now I'm going to be inserting them into that floral block. So I found that putting 3 in the back and 3 in the front worked really well for this size box. And if you want to stop here, you absolutely can. I think that this is a really cute DIY just like this. So adorable for a tiered tray or maybe on top of some stacked books. But I did create a waterslide decal if you want. So this is the one that I created, and it will be linked down below in the description box, and you can print it out for free on my blog. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim around it, and then just like before, I'm going to be putting it into some water, letting it sit for about 30 to 60 seconds, and then just transferring it onto my surface. Now I'm just going to dry off any extra water with a paper towel and let it dry completely. And here is the final result. I think that this one is just so pretty. These flowers are never going to wilt on you. They're always going to look great. And this is a really fun DIY to create without any decals if you want to leave that one off. For our last DIY, I'm starting off with 3 of these glass candles from the Dollar Tree, and I created this free printable to fit these glass candles exactly. So there are a bunch of different words on here, that way you can pick and choose which ones you like if you want to recreate this, but I'm just going to pick these 3, so I went with Valentine, XOXO, and Be Mine. So just like all the other ones, I'm just going to be placing it into some lukewarm water and letting that sit for about 30 seconds or so wetting the surface that I'm going to be applying it onto, and then just transferring it onto that candle. So to do that, I'm just pulling out that paper backing, then I can just slide it around to place it exactly where I want, and then you just want to dry off any extra water that is on top and let it dry completely. I was definitely inspired by the Rae Dunn font when I created these, and I just thought it was a really fun way to get that Rae Dunn look for less. Here is the final result, and these ones were honestly so much fun to create. They were really quick, but I think that they look really cool, and no one would ever guess that they're from the Dollar Tree. And those are all the DIYs that I have for you guys today, but be sure to subscribe if you are not yet subscribed, and turn on that notification bell because I have a new video coming out very soon that I cannot wait to share with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. To subscribe to my channel, you can just click on my picture right here, and be sure to check out this video for some more Valentine's Day fun.